Hello everyone, it's Dr. D and Mr. Leo. If you guys have been following my channel, you know I'm all about eating healthy, fueling the body, moving, exercise, and trying to live the best life, the healthiest life possible. Not only for me, but for my best friend, Mr. Leo. And today I wanted to show you how I make Mr. Leo's bone broth because, well, I'm going to put him down. He says hello. Now he's going to go sleep. I make Mr. Leo's bone broth myself because when I first got him, I went out to look for the best bone broth that is out there that's manufactured. And I had bought this little like 12-ounce thing, organic bone broth for like $16. And I was like, this is really expensive. But of course, I wanted to buy him the best quality bone broth that I can find. Bone broth is so important for dogs because it has collagen, it has vitamins, and it has nutrients in the bone broth, especially collagen for their skin, their hair, their joints. If you want your dog to have really good healthy joints, especially as they get older, you want to start taking care of them now when they're young, and it's better to prepare for wellness than to have to deal with illness later. Just like humans, right? That's why I take really good care of myself too by what I eat and how much exercise I do a day and meditation that I perform every day. Anyway, so I took the label off of the bone broth that I had purchased, and everything in it I always buy every 3 months or so and prepare it exactly that way. So today we have our, or put the little label here, we have our beef bones that I get from the local grocery store. Mine's Publix. I live in Florida. If you don't have Publix, you can also always go to your local butcher and ask them for beef bones. And I'm going to be adding turkey necks as well to his bone broth. And this cost me only $5.79, and this cost me only $9. Mind you, this is for two times. So you'll only be using half of these this time and half of the turkey necks this time. And I put the other half in the freezer. So when I run out of bone broth, I make more using the other half. So each serving, I shouldn't say each serving, but every time I make 7 quarts of bone broth, which is 224 ounces instead of 12 ounces, it cost me only about $10, which is crazy. Anyway, we'll get into the rest of the ingredients. You can use a sweet potato, or you can also use about a cup or a cup and a half of butternut squash. We'll be using sweet potato today, mixing it up. 3 ounces of cilantro, 3 ounces of parsley, about an ounce, because that's all I had, of broccoli, 2-inch knob of ginger. You have 3 carrots and 2 celery sticks, a cup of spinach, 1/4 cup of apple cider vinegar, and 3 tablespoons of turmeric. That is literally all you have to do, and you fill your 7 quarts up with water, which we'll get to. So we'll start by chopping up the cilantro and parsley, and you definitely want to get fresh vegetables. I get my fresh vegetables locally from the farmers market. It's a lot more affordable. Also, Aldi is a great option, of course, depending on which location, because I have noticed they differ. They have really good vegetable options as well and very affordable. Then you don't have to chop up the spinach, but I do chop them up just a bit. Okay, spinach just like that. And then we will chop up the broccoli. Oh, And I was saying you do want to get fresh vegetables. And the reason for that, uncooked raw fresh vegetables, it's because when the vegetables are raw and uncooked, they hold the most amount of nutrients in them in that state. If you get cooked or frozen vegetables that have been cooked already, they've already lost a certain amount of their nutrients. And then you're going to go ahead and slow cook it again, which is going to cause them to lose a little bit more of their nutrients and their vitamins, their minerals and vitamins. So at least when the vegetables are being cooked and some of the vitamins and minerals leach out, they're going to leach out into the broth that Mr. Leo or your fur baby is going to enjoy. When you do cook vegetables, they do lose some of the vitamins and nutrients, but the lower the temperature that you cook your vegetables on, and you'll lose or break down less of those vitamins and nutrients. Then we're moving on to the carrots. I have a little mini carrot that's like really small. There you go. Put that in there. So 3.5 carrots. Then you will peel. I've already washed all of these vegetables thoroughly, meaning I make a bath water with about 2 to 3 tablespoons of baking soda and 2 or 3 gallons of water, and I soak the vegetables for 10 minutes to 15 minutes, and then I give them a very good wash, rinse with cold water. That will remove a lot of the pesticides from your vegetables and your fruits. That's how I prepare fruits too. And you could just designate a bucket, a clean sanitized bucket that you only use for cleaning your vegetables and fruits, for your home. Okay, so we'll put the garbage over there. You don't necessarily need to peel it. You can keep the skin on, that's no problem. And I'm just giving it a rough chop. And you just put all your ingredients again into the pot. It's like that. My favorite, peeling ginger, said nobody. Just give that a rough peel over there, getting most of the skin off. Just like that. And then you're going to rough chop the ginger up a little bit into much smaller pieces. It really releases the aroma that way. Okay, there you go. Put that in there. Now, sweet potato. Again, it's not a big deal if you keep some of the skin on. A lot of the skin of fruits and vegetables contain their own vitamins and minerals. Okay, so we're going to just chop up the sweet potato into cubes. Again, just a rough chop because it doesn't matter the size. You are going to end up blending the vegetables anyway. Okay, now you're going to add a 1/4 cup of your apple cider vinegar right in there. Then you're going to add your 2 to 3 or 4. Turmeric is an excellent anti-inflammatory. 2 to 3 tablespoons of turmeric like that. Okay, we are done with this. So I'm just going to put this to the side. Okay, now drop in our chicken. These are turkey necks. I'm sorry, these are turkey necks. And they came 6 to a package. I'm using 2. And then we're going to drop in these beautiful beef bones. Look, all that cartilage. It's beautiful. So I'm using these 2 big pieces, and I'll be dropping in. So we'll use that. And then look, we have all these bones left over. That's 6 huge pieces and 4 turkey necks left over for next time, because these are pretty big pieces of bone. So that's really exciting. Then you go ahead and you fill up your 7-quart cooker or whatever cooker that you have, pretty much until like 3/4 of the way up, okay, with water. That's it, guys. That is all she wrote. And now I'm going to place the lid on this and turn the slow cooker, the crock pot, on low. And I leave this completely overnight, but you could leave it on, high for 6 to 8 hours. But I leave it on low for like 12 hours. And then the next day I will show you what to do. You still have to let it cool. That's because after it cools down, I put the bone broth in these ice cube trays and I freeze it that way, because every time I feed Leo, he gets a freeze-dried food. I actually allow one of these to melt into the food um, along with his multivitamin. So that's about it. I'll show you the next step after this is done cooking. See you later. Now this is what you do with the extra bones. And I'll just go ahead and write on there turkey necks and beef bones and the date, so I know when I'm about to freeze this. And this is actually good for another 2 rounds, which is awesome. Like, talk about cost effective. And when I was reading the food labels on the non-organic bone broths, not only did they have like these long chemical names that obviously those are not whole foods, because whole foods will say celery, carrot, kale, spinach, which again, you can use kale as well. It's very good for your dog instead of spinach if you don't have any. But they were using preservatives and gargums, and they were using, oh, the worst, seed oils. I was reading seed oils, and then on top of that, to combat seed oil, which is highly inflammatory, not only for us, but for your dogs, they put turmeric in there. So I'm like, what was the point of using turmeric and you have a bunch of seed oil in your broth? Talk about like marketing, right? Like, anyway, it's so much healthier and so much more cost effective to make your dog's bone broth like this. Good morning, everyone. Okay, really quickly, I just woke up, but I wanted to come downstairs because I wanted to show you how to now store your bone broth that you made for your beautiful fur babies. And let me flip this camera. So this cooled overnight. This is the broth. I did remove the bones because I don't give Leo the bones. He's a small breed, so I don't want him to choke on it. I removed the vegetables to the side because he does not like vegetables, so I have to puree that and kind of give it to him separately. And I removed all the meat right there from the turkey necks and the collagen inside of each of those bones. And now this is how I make ice cubes from them. I just get whatever spoon that you want to use, and I literally just fill them up. Okay, you're gonna get some parsley and cilantro and whatever else in there. You can add water to them to help them melt when you're gonna give it to them. Just a little bit, like a tablespoon of water to the ice cube. Leo gets one of these because, again, he's a small breed. If you have larger breeds, you want to give maybe 2 ice cubes to them in their food. Or if they eat it separately, that's fine too. Leo's a very picky eater. He's a Pekingese, they're known for that. But it's that simple. And I'm just gonna put this here because I'm gonna finish the rest. And I love these ice cube trays because they actually have lids to them, so it's mess free. And I stack them in the freezer, once the lids go on them like that. And then it's a lot, so I usually have to use my old school ones too. But that's it. Okay, so I got them all packaged up, and now you're just gonna let them freeze overnight. Once they are completely frozen, I pop them out and I store all the ice cubes in a large freezer bag. So when I'm ready to use them, I just grab one and defrost it. simple it is to make bone broth without the additives, the preservatives, the chemicals, and very cost effective. It's packed with collagen, which is excellent for their joint health, their hair, their fur, their skin, their nails, a lot of things, connective tissue, and the list goes on. Thanks for watching. I hope that helped, and here's to your health and your fur baby's health. Bye!